So picture this, right? It is a Tuesday night.
Okay.
It's February 1953. And you are standing in this, like, smoky, crowded conference room.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, inside the Biltmore Hotel in Providence, Rhode Island. And the room is just packed with guys in sharp suits.
Just a classic 1950s scene.
Exactly. And this man, Bill Satchel, he walks right to the center of the floor.
Yeah.
He turns to the crowd, and he just holds a dinner plate directly in front of his face.
Okay.
Completely motionless. And then from across the room, another guy, Ed Whitford, raises a real loaded pistol. He aims it directly at Satchel's head, and he just pulls the trigger.
Right.
The gunshot just rings out. It's deafening in this enclosed hotel room. Satchel winces, the plate shatters.
Yeah.
And then he lowers his hand, he smiles, and he spits a crumpled lead bullet from his mouth right into his palm.
Unbelievable.
And the room just erupts. I mean, absolute tumult of applause. So welcome to the deep dive.
It's just such a phenomenal image, isn't it?
It really is.
And, what makes it so incredible is that this wasn't some grand stage performance in Las Vegas.
Right, no.
This was essentially just a local club meeting.
Which, honestly, is exactly our mission for today. Because we've got this stack of archival dispatches from a 1950s trade magazine.
Yeah, the linking ring.
Exactly, the linking ring. And instead of, looking at the really famous tuxedo-clad illusionists who were all over national television at the time.
The big names.
Right. We are zooming in on this tiny, hyper-local organization, the William E. Baker Ring number 44.
Down in Rhode Island.
Yep, magic enthusiasts in Rhode Island. And, you might hear 1950s club roster and think, okay, we're about to read a boring phone book.
Right, like meeting minutes or something.
Exactly.
Right.
But peeling back the curtain on this specific group, it reveals something just entirely different. I mean, we're talking about literal family dynasties running the show.
Oh, absolutely.
Underground card-cheating manuscripts and, the absolute blueprints for how a niche community survives and thrives.
Yeah, because studying Ring 44, it really provides a masterclass in the sociology of passion projects.
Yeah.
We look at the golden age of magic, and we usually just focus on the spectacle, right?
Totally. The flashy stuff.
But these dispatches, they show us the engine room. They reveal how a relatively small group of local hobbyists and professionals in Rhode Island.
A place they proudly called the little state where magic goes big.
Exactly. How they managed to sustain this vibrant, highly influential artistic ecosystem. And they did it without the benefit of the internet or modern communication.
Right. But, before anyone can go firing a gun in a hotel room.
Somebody has to book the hotel room.
Exactly. Somebody has to do the paperwork. So really have to look at the mechanics of how this club operated.
It's fascinating stuff.
It is. They had two main home bases, right?
Yeah.
They alternated between the Baker Theater and that Biltmore Hotel we just mentioned.
Right.
And I'm looking at the dispatches from their April 1953 elections. And the administrative setup is just wild.
It really is.
Charles A. Harrison Sr. is elected president.
Okay.
His wife, Elsie Harrison, is elected secretary. And then Charles A. Harrison Jr., who goes by Chuck.
Let me guess.
He takes the role of treasurer.
The Harrison family basically just absorbed the entire executive branch of the organization.
They turned it into a family business, like a family-run diner or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
And there's this brilliant moment a few months later that really shows the tension of this arrangement. Because in June, Chuck Harrison, the newly minted treasurer,
right,
he pulls up to the club meeting in a brand new car.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the dispatch actually notes that everyone in the room was, quote, on pins and needles during the meeting.
Just sweating.
Sweating. Until Chuck finally read the treasurer's report and mathematically proved he hadn't, embezzled the club's funds to buy his new ride.
That is hilarious. But, the fact that they published that joke in a national dispatch, it actually tells you a lot about the social fabric of the group.
How so?
It's a moment of levity, sure, but it highlights a profound structural reality about volunteer organizations.
Okay, hold on, though. Because I look at a father, mother, and son holding the presidency, the secretarial duties, and the treasury, and my immediate thought is dictatorship.
Sure, yeah.
In almost any modern organization, having one family control the money, the meetings, and the minutes, it would cause an absolute uproar.
People would be furious.
It just feels like a recipe for a massive echo chamber where no one else gets a say. So how on earth did they view this extreme consolidation of power as a good thing?
Well, because the currency of a voluntary, uncompensated organization isn't power.
What is it then?
It's labor. I mean, think about what running a 1950s club actually entailed.
A lot of paper.
Exactly. You had to physically mail out newsletters, balance actual paper checkbooks, negotiate with hotel management.
With the logistics.
Yeah, and chase people down for physical cash dues. That is completely invisible, thankless labor.
Right.
In the sociology of community building, we call this administrative friction. The #1 killer of passion-based groups isn't a lack of interest,
It's burnout.
Exactly. It's administrative burnout.
So really, nobody else actually wanted those jobs anyway?
Almost never. By consolidating that labor within a single household, the Harrisons absorbed the friction.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. They could organize the agenda over breakfast. They didn't have to schedule secondary meetings across town just to get the treasurer and the president on the same page.
Because they're in the same house.
Right. It was hyper efficient. And yes, it required an immense amount of trust from the rest of the members.
Hence the collective heart attack over Chuck's new car.
Exactly. But providing that stable administrative bedrock, that was a massive gift to the artists.
I see. So because the Harrisons were dealing with all the annoying logistics, the rest of the guys didn't have to spend their Tuesday nights arguing about hotel booking fees.
Nope. They could just focus on the magic.
They could just walk through the doors of the Biltmore and instantly drop into, a laboratory for their craft.
Precisely.
And judging by these dispatches, they utilized every single second of that freedom. I mean, they pushed their craft to some bizarre extremes.
Yeah, the contrast between the mundane reality of a Tuesday nightclub meeting and the surreal activities actually taking place inside the room is just fascinating.
Totally. I mean, on one end of the spectrum, you had these incredibly dry, hyper-focused technical sessions.
Right.
There's a note about a member named Ed Whitford. He's giving this practical mini-lecture to the guys, but he isn't teaching them a trick.
He's teaching them how to practice.
Exactly. He tells them to replace their playing cards with solid wooden blocks of the exact same size.
Wow.
Yeah, and to practice their manipulation and sleight of hand using the wood instead of cardboard.
Which is such a beautiful insight into the physical discipline of the craft. I mean, wood doesn't yield, right?
Right, it doesn't bend.
If you make a mistake palming a playing card, the card bends to accommodate your hand. It forgives your sloppy technique.
Oh, wow. I never thought of that.
Yeah. But a wooden block will just clatter to the floor. Practicing with wood forces a magician to build absolute finger strength, perfect structural alignment.
That's hardcore.
It is. If you can flawlessly manipulate a rigid block of wood, a standard deck of cards will feel like liquid in your hands.
That is just intense.
Yeah.
But then we swing to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Which brings us back to that bullet catch in the Biltmore Hotel.
Ah, yes. The bullet catch.
Because that same guy, Ed Whitford, the one with the wooden blocks,
Yeah.
he is the one who pulled the trigger.
Yep.
And I really need to challenge this because reading about a live pistol being fired in a hotel room just sounds completely unhinged.
It sounds like madness.
Right. You have guys practicing with wooden blocks to be safe and disciplined, and then they're just shooting guns at each other.
Yeah.
Were they just reckless show-offs, or did they genuinely know what they were doing?
Well, the bullet catch is arguably the most infamous and lethal illusion in the history of magic.
For obvious reasons.
Right. But to understand why this moment in the Biltmore is so significant, you have to understand why the trick is so dangerous. Historically, magicians haven't died because they actually caught a bullet.
Oh, really?
They died because of the mechanics of the firearm itself. Even if you're firing a blank cartridge, the concussive force of the exploding gunpowder, it can turn a forgotten piece of debris in the barrel into a lethal projectile.
Wait, like what kind of debris?
Like a splinter, a piece of wadding, a fragment of glass.
So even a fake gun can kill you if the barrel's unclean.
Exactly. Now, when you perform this on a massive theater stage, you have the benefit of distance.
Right, you're far away from the audience.
You can control the variables. But doing this in a low-ceilinged hotel room, surrounded by your peers who are standing mere feet away, that removes all of those safety buffers.
That's terrifying.
It's not recklessness, though. It is the ultimate life-or-death trust fall. The local ring served as a closed laboratory. Satchel, trusting Whitford to fire that weapon, wasn't about proving he was a tough guy. It was about demonstrating the absolute, unshakable solidarity of their brotherhood.
Wow. That completely reframes it. So the danger is the point, but not just for the thrill of the danger.
Right.
It's to prove that the guy across the room has, double-checked his equipment because he values your life as much as his own.
Precisely. And this extreme trust, it allowed them to experiment with other forms of showmanship that were, less lethal, but equally audacious.
Okay, like Charlie Fenner.
Yes, the sympathetic blocks.
Right. The dispatches highlight his performance of the sympathetic blocks routine. And for those who might not be familiar, the sympathetic blocks is this classic illusion where you have two sets of stacked blocks.
Usually painted with letters or numbers.
Right. And the magician covers them up, and when the covers are removed, the blocks have miraculously rearranged themselves to match each other perfectly.
A great trick.
But Fenner didn't just do the standard trick.
No, he elevated it into a piece of true theatrical engineering.
He really did. The climax of his routine involved the block covers actually popping open mechanically.
To reveal dancing dolls hidden inside.
Yes. And the kicker. The entire mechanical reveal was perfectly synchronized with a live orchestra playing in the pit.
Which is staggering when you remember the context here.
It's like a local club.
Exactly. This is a local chapter of a hobbyist organization. The fact that they had access to a live orchestra and that Fenner took the time to map the mechanical release of his props to the musical cues of live musicians.
It's insane.
It shows that Ring 44 was not just about fooling the eye. They were obsessively studying stagecraft, pacing, and multi-sensory audience manipulation.
But, amidst all this spectacle, the gunfire, the live orchestras, the mechanical dancing dolls, there is one performance that stands out to me because of how incredibly quiet it was.
So, H. Adrian Smith.
Yes. A man named H. Adrian Smith drops into the club. And the dispatches treat him like absolute royalty.
They do.
They note that he is a past international president of the IBM. And just to clarify for everyone, in this context, IBM stands for the International Brotherhood of Magicians.
Not the computer company.
Right, not the computer company. And they specifically refer to Smith as a magician's magician.
Which is a title that is incredibly difficult to earn in that community.
I bet.
A magician's magician is someone who can fool the people who already know how all the tricks work.
Right. So the president of the International Brotherhood steps up to perform. And he chooses to do the cups and balls, which is arguably the oldest trick in recorded history.
Classic.
You take 3 cups, you make small balls vanish and reappear under them. Simple. But Smith doesn't bring out polished brass cups or heavy custom-made velvet balls.
No.
He uses 3 cheap paper Dixie cups.
Yep.
And for the ball, he takes a crumpled up piece of cellophane from a cigarette wrapper.
Brilliant.
And the dispatch writer is just completely blown away by this. But why? I mean, I would imagine using a piece of trash is almost insulting to the craft.
Yeah. But it is actually the ultimate flex of mechanical mastery.
Really?
Yeah. Think about the psychology of an audience watching a magic show. When a performer brings out a beautifully painted, velvet-lined box,
Right.
there is always a lingering voice in the back of the spectator's head saying, the box is doing the work.
Oh, like it's a trick box.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The audience assumes there's a secret trapdoor or a hidden mirror that they just can't see. The apparatus becomes an excuse for why they were fooled.
Right. Like if I had a $100 magic box, I could probably make a coin disappear too.
Exactly. But when H. Adrian Smith walks up and borrows 3 paper Dixie cups that everyone in the room has literally been drinking water out of,
Yeah.
he strips away the armor of the prop. There are no trapdoors in a Dixie cup.
That's true.
Furthermore, think about his choice to use cellophane. What happens when you crumple cellophane?
Oh, it makes a ton of noise. It crinkles really loudly.
Right. Sleight of hand relies heavily on silence.
Oh.
If you're trying to secretly move an object from one hand to another, auditory misdirection is a massive challenge. A soft velvet ball makes no sound when it drops into your palm.
Right.
But a piece of cellophane, it announces its presence every time it is squeezed.
So everyone can hear it.
Exactly. To execute the cups and balls using an inherently noisy object right under the noses of professional deceivers, it requires a level of manual dexterity and psychological misdirection that simply cannot be bought in a store.
That is wild.
He was showing them the raw, unadorned mechanics of illusion.
He was proving that the magic is in the hands, not in the hardware.
Precisely.
And clearly, this environment they built in Rhode Island, this intense mix of administrative stability, life or death trust, theatrical ambition, and raw technical skill.
It was potent.
Very potent. Ring 44 couldn't stay a local secret for long. They started to draw in outside talent and rapidly positioned themselves as a major gravitational center on the regional stage.
Yeah, they really became a hub for cross-pollination. Because remember, knowledge transfer in the 1950s was a deeply physical act.
Right, no Zoom calls. And we see a perfect example of that in the May Dispatch. A guy named Sam George, who's the president of the Silent Mora Ring 122 up in Boston.
Okay.
He brings his members all the way down to Providence for a joint meeting. And there's this one detail that I just find so moving.
Yeah, about Silent Mora himself.
Yes, the namesake of that Boston club, an older, highly revered magician known as Silent Mora, actually got out of a sickbed just to attend.
Incredible.
He was genuinely ill, but he made the journey from Boston to Rhode Island just so he could stand up and perform his signature routine for the Providence guys.
The torn and restored Hindu band trick.
Yes. And for those who haven't seen it, the magician takes a continuous band of thread, visibly snaps it into multiple broken pieces, rolls the pieces into a tiny ball,
Right.
and then slowly pulls the thread out of his fingers completely whole and restored again.
It's a beautiful piece of magic.
But why would an older, sick man travel across state lines just to do a thread trick in the hotel room?
Well, I think it's because of the profound isolation that comes with niche mastery.
Isolation.
Yeah. Think about Silent Mora's life. He had spent decades perfecting the micro movements, the breathing, the subtle eye contact required to make that thread trick look like genuine magic.
Decades.
Right. And the general public appreciates the trick, but they don't understand the decades of sacrifice behind it.
Right. They just clap because it looks cool.
Exactly. But that room in Providence, that room was filled with men who understood the weight of what he was doing.
They knew the secret.
They knew how hard it was to hide the thread, how difficult the timing was. For Silent Mora, getting out of a sickbed wasn't about showing off.
What was it about?
It was about being in one of the very few spaces on the planet where his life's work was intimately understood and deeply revered.
Wow.
In an era before instant digital communication, if you wanted to feel that connection, you had to physically put your body in the room.
Oh. You couldn't just, post a video of the Hindu band trick and wait for the likes to roll in.
No, you had to go look your peers in the eye.
But even so, they were finding ways to expand their network beyond physical visits, right?
Definitely.
Because the footprint of Rhode Island magic was stretching out through the mail. The dispatches mentioned this 18-year-old kid named Arthur Andrews Jr. living in Greenville, Rhode Island.
Just a teenager.
Right. And this teenager was running a massive Magic Wand correspondence club with over 100 members, mailing out mimeographed newsletters every month.
I love that. He was essentially moderating a subreddit, but he had to do it with postage stamps and ink rollers.
Right. And then you have the really heavy hitters operating in the shadows. The dispatches talk about a guy named Eddie McGuire.
Ah, Tex.
Yeah, he went by the aliases Tex, or the gambler from the Golden West.
What a name.
Seriously, he was living at a Providence address, and he was the author of the legendary Phantom of the Card Table manuscript.
A very famous text.
Yeah, this highly coveted document detailing underground card cheating techniques. And the dispatch notes it originally sold for $50.
Which is a lot back then.
I ran the inflation math on that. $50 in 1953 is the equivalent of over $600 today.
Jeez.
For a single manuscript.
Well, it highlights the underground economy of secrets. In the magic community, knowledge has tangible monetary value.
Really?
McGuire's manuscript wasn't, a mass market paperback you could just buy at the drugstore. It was highly technical, specialized knowledge about the mechanics of card mechanics.
Like what?
Like how to deal from the bottom of the deck invisibly, how to falsely shuffle. Charging the equivalent of $600 was a gatekeeping mechanism.
Oh, do you keep out the amateurs?
Exactly. It ensured that the secrets only fell into the hands of people who were intensely dedicated to the craft.
It's just wild to think about this massive web of activity. You have teenagers running mail-order forums, gamblers writing $600 cheating manuals, grandmasters leaving sickbeds.
And all of it circling around this little Rhode Island club.
Right, which perfectly explains how all this momentum culminated in 1954. All of this intense local laboratory work led to Ring 44 officially co-hosting the 1954 New England Convention.
That was really their moment of regional coronation.
Yeah, they put out advertisements in the magazine, and they proudly declared Rhode Island as the little state where magic goes big.
They earned that title.
They really did. They knew exactly what they had built. They weren't just a local chapter anymore. They were the cultural heartbeat of New England magic.
And they proved a vital sociological concept, right? Geographic size and population density have absolutely no bearing on cultural impact, provided the internal infrastructure of the community is strong enough.
Yeah.
They built a fortress of trust, and from that fortress, they influenced the entire region.
So bringing all these threads together, We started this deep dive looking at what seemed like a dusty administrative roster from the early 1950s. But beneath the dry meeting minutes, we found an incredible human engine. We saw how the Harrison family took on the unglamorous, invisible chores of administration.
Deliberately absorbing the friction so that the artists could thrive.
Exactly. Which created a safe haven, a closed laboratory where men trusted each other enough to literally fire live ammunition in a crowded room.
Simply to prove the solidity of their bond.
Yeah. We saw how that laboratory demanded raw excellence. Men practicing with unyielding wooden blocks, and legends like H. Adrian Smith using crinkling cellophane and paper cups to prove that true mastery relies on human mechanics, not expensive props.
Beautifully said.
And we saw how that dedication radiated outward, drawing in sick men looking for understanding and generating underground manuscripts that commanded a small fortune.
You know, looking at this 1950s microcosm through our modern lens, it raises a deeply provocative question.
What's that?
Well, today, if you want to see magic, you don't have to go to Goatmore Hotel. You can pull out your phone right now and watch 1,000 flawless magic tricks in an hour. We consume more illusion in a single morning scroll than these men probably witnessed in a year.
But we forget almost all of it the second we swipe to the next video.
Precisely. Yet here we are, more than 70 years later, and we are still talking about Bill Satchel shattering a plate with a bullet.
Yeah.
And we're still analyzing the auditory challenges of H. Adrian Smith manipulating a piece of trash. It leaves us with a lingering thought.
Okay.
Is the true magic not the trick itself, but the ephemeral, shared human experience of being physically present in the room when the impossible happens?
Oh, wow. That is a profound way to look at it. The trick isn't really just the spark, but the people in the room, the shared attention. That is the oxygen.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. And, whether your passion is card mechanics, vintage cars, or writing code, we encourage you to look for the Ring 44 in your own life.
Find your community.
Seek out that dedicated, passionate local community that is willing to do the chores and keep the craft alive. Because without the people in the room, the magic just doesn't happen. See you next time.